Hi, I'm Annie Fitzsimmons. I'm your Washington REALTORS Legal Hotline lawyer. I want to talk to you about the buyer's walkthrough and what they can, and more importantly, for the purposes of this particular discussion, what they can't do as part of their walkthrough. And this discussion comes from a question I received recently. The fact pattern is egregious. I don't expect any of you to ever do what this buyer and this buyer broker did. But again, it serves as an illustration of how scenarios can evolve, and buyer broker, the very important role that you play as the buyer's broker who opened the door and let the buyer into the property. In this particular fact pattern, the seller is an elderly woman. She's lived in this home her whole life, raised her family there, has moved out, has sold the property, has still a lot of emotional attachment to this home, and left a few items around the property that she thought would be useful to the buyer as the buyer comes in and takes possession of the property. Now we have the walkthrough. Buyer clearly disagrees with the seller and doesn't want what the seller has left for the buyer. And the way the facts are presented in the hotline question, buyer and buyer broker mercilessly go through the house and the garage and the kitchen, and they start pulling maybe what are fixtures off the walls, shelving, etc. Any of the little trinkets that were left around, everything just gets thrown into a debris pile in the center of the garage. If that had happened after closing, so be it. It's buyer's property. At that point, they can do what they want. But buyer broker, when you're walking through property with the buyer, even if it seems like the property is vacant, it is not yet the buyer's property. Closing hasn't happened. And buyer broker, you are responsible for the buyer's actions in that home. You used your MLS key, you opened the door, you have a duty under the agency law to timely account for seller's property when you expose your buyer to seller's property. So buyer brokers, please be mindful of how your buyers behave during the walkthrough. I'm sure in the minds of many buyers, when they're that close to closing, it's already their home, seller's gone, and they want to get busy with whatever it is they want to do to the property. Buyer brokers, remember why you're there. You are there to confirm the fixtures and the appliances within the property are still functional as they were at the time of mutual acceptance. That's the whole role. That's the whole contractual purpose of the buyer's walkthrough. So make sure, buyer brokers, that you are respectful of the fact and that your buyer is respectful of the fact that it is still the seller's property until your buyer takes possession. If you have questions on this topic or any other, please visit warealtor.org and ask me a question by following the links to the legal hotline. Thank you for being a Washington REALTORS member.